Guys, look at my Shimmer rackets and tell me you're not jealous right now. Shimmer rackets, but what I'm gonna talk about right now is going to be more so like a new game plan for those who have been saving up the Shimmer rackets. So I've been preaching that you should mostly, except for one legendary Esper, you should mostly go for new legendary Espers instead of going for dupes, right? You know, getting a brand new legendary Shimmer most of the time is going to be giving you more mileage for your account. But if we take a look at the current Shimmer 5-star, they have done something that is brand new. They have never done this before, which is giving the Resonance 1 a completely broken effect. So first off, I'm going to talk about his kit real quick. Igyy, he has all of the components to be a very good PvP Esper, a very good bruiser, one of the best bruisers, but he has one main flaw. So first, the components of being a bruiser, right? He has guaranteed damage. From his passive, after each time that enemy actively attacks or counter-attack, they take damage based on his attack and light up the waxing moon, right? This portion right here, take damage based on his attack, is guaranteed damage. It doesn't matter if he's stunned, slapped, whatever it is. As long as he's on the battlefield, he will do this guaranteed damage. So if we take a look at the top tier bruiser characters, and the reason why I say bruiser characters is because bruiser characters tend to last the longest when it comes to outputting damage in PvP. The longest running meta for PvP is going to be support Espers. If they have all of the components to support, they will last throughout the entire meta of the game, right? But you do need DPS, which is why you run bruisers in your team. So if we take a look at strong bruisers, let's go over Donar. Donar is not really a good bruiser until he got his rework, right? Because he has some form of guaranteed damage from his passive right here. If you take 5 damage or 5 hits, he will guarantee cast his ability and he gains an additional turn, which could go into his S3. He has guaranteed damage. The previous Donar wasn't that good because he doesn't get an additional turn when he procs this stuff, right? But even still, Donar's guaranteed damage is still not guaranteed in a way, because if he gets stunned, the damage that he provides instantly gets wiped away and he doesn't cycle all that well. So even now, Donar is not really a good bruiser. We take a look at height. Why is height still in the meta currently? Height doesn't have a guaranteed damage, but he has debuff immunity, and when you put him on Avatara, that is sort of like a guaranteed damage. He has debuff immunity so that he cannot be stunned, so that he can counter attack with his S1, and he also has damage reduction for him to survive longer, and also revive mechanic, right? So he has a form of guaranteed damage in the form of Avatara procs with his S1, because he cannot be stunned and cannot be debuffed and whatsoever. Now, people have been saying that Ollie is a good bruiser. He's not. He has never been a good bruiser because he doesn't have guaranteed form of damage. When one of your allies die, he does save it. He does save the ally even if he is stunned, but he doesn't do any damage. And past his passive and his third skill, he doesn't do any damage from his S1. So Ollie's not a good bruiser. He has never been a good bruiser. He's just a support that gives you speed lead and saves one ally, right? So no guaranteed damage means not that good of a bruiser. Zhang Juli. Now, why is Zhang Juli so meta right now in PvP and why he's being used so much is because he has a guaranteed form of damage in demon mode. And just the fact that this ability cannot be cooldown up anymore means that he has guaranteed form of damage with the demon mode. And because the demon mode also gives him a massive shield per hit, that almost gives him an additional guaranteed 2 hit of damage. The major change to him is the fact that he cannot be cooldown up anymore. That's the only change that made him viable. Without this change, and with just the shield on his demon mode, is not enough for him to really be meta. But because this can no longer be cooldown up, it guarantees you a form of damage from Zhang Juli's kit. So very good bruiser. Again, guaranteed form of damage means a good bruiser. Everett, he has kind of fallen off, and the main reason is because, again, if you get stunned, you are locked out of any form of damage when it comes to Everett. You need to be on the battlefield, not stunned, for him to cast his S2, right? If he is stunned, he cannot do anything, which means he's just there as a meat shield. He provides you with the damage reduction, but that's pretty much it. If he's stunned, he's not going to do his counter attacks, which means you are not guaranteed a damage from this unit. Now Jinchu, his R2 doesn't make him a bruiser. He's not a good bruiser. He is a good support, a very good support at R2 for Mavis, and that's pretty much it. For any of your buffers, right? But he is not a good bruiser. Why? He doesn't have any guaranteed form of damage, because his intimidate effect until you get him at R6 is where he becomes stun immune, and also, if I'm not mistaken, petrification immune. That's the only way that you can make him a good bruiser, when you reach R6. When he is at R2, he's not a good bruiser. He will provide a lot of support for your entire team that can provide buffs to him, right? Because of the intimidate buff giving you a reactive shield. But before R6, he's not a good bruiser. Ginny, why is she still a good bruiser when she doesn't have any revive mechanic? Well, for one, she is very tanky. You can only kill her if she gets one-shotted, or if you have a disease debuff. But one thing for sure is that she has guaranteed damage in the form of intense heat. If the enemy attacks her, then she will right? She retaliates with 40% of her attack, and that is a guaranteed form of damage. It may not be enough in the current meta right now, which is why she's being phased out every so often in people's team, unless you have her at R6 very high resonance, so the stats can carry her. But at R2, again, this 40% of guaranteed damage is no longer enough for the team, but less guaranteed form of damage, which the reason why she's still being used. And then lastly, this unit, again, the pinnacle of guaranteed damage, 100% counter chance. I mean, some people may say that you can just stun her and then she'll be no longer be able to counter attack you, but keep in mind, you can stun her, but if she dies, she gets an instant turn. She starts off with 2 revives. 1 revive from 1 rainbow seed, and then 5 from the rainbow shield. And then when you proc 5 rainbow shield stacks on her, she gets another revive, right? And when you kill her, she gets an instant turn, which is a guaranteed form of damage. Whether she casts her S1, if you AP up her, then she's gonna cast her S1. If you didn't AP up her, then she's gonna get another revive by casting her S3 by getting 5 more rainbow shield stacks. So guaranteed form of damage, very strong. Now, why am I going through all these bruiser characters? The reason is because Igyy, while he has guaranteed form of damage, he doesn't have a revive or a really strong sustaining ability unless you have him at R1. So if you take a look at his kit, he only gains the revive or the cheat death mechanic when you gain 12 stacks of Waxing Moon, which means you need the enemies to attack you 12 times. And if the enemy has one really good nuker, maybe a Ggez, maybe a Ggez, whatever it is, right? A very strong AoE DPS, then he gets one-shotted before you get this 12 stacks, he's dead. He's not doing anything for the team. The guaranteed form of damage does, trigger maybe once or twice within the fight, but once he gets one-shotted with the AoE that Ggez does, he doesn't do anything for you at that point. He doesn't have a revive mechanic until you get the 12 stacks, which means he's not really a good bruiser that way, right? So with Igyy, if you don't have him at R1, the best way that you can run him is in a cleave team. You cannot really reliably run him in a tank team unless you want to, smother him with 4 different supports that can really protect him and make sure that he doesn't die. If he dies and this envious moon goes away, he will no longer have this cheat death mechanic, and when you revive him, he will no longer have this envious moon until he casts his S3. So again, this guy doesn't have a cheat death mechanic. He has all of the components to have to be a very good bruiser and very good in PvP. But if you don't have his R1, which is gain sleep no more at the start of combat, you are not really going to be running him in a tank team. Because in a tank team, if you get one-shotted by an AoE Esper, he's done for. He's not Ana that has blocking mechanics. He's not Hyde that has a revive. He's not Genie that can sustain through the AoE attacks. You know, he doesn't have some form of a good defensive mechanic that can help him survive an AoE attack. He does have stealth at the beginning of the match, but stealth only protects you from single target attacks, right? If the enemy runs AoE, you are fucked. So again, that's the reason why I say this could change everything. Again, I've preached that getting new Shimmer Nat 5 is going to be better for you, for your account. But if they start making resonance like this, game-changing resonance R1 like this, it might be best to just skip the old Shimmer Nat 5 and go for an R1 brand new Shimmer Nat 5, because this guy, the way I see it, right, he's still not in the game yet, but he's easily counterable if you run him in a tank team and you don't have his R1. If you have him at R1 is where you can start running him in a tank team. But without his R1, he has many counters that is easily accessible to everyone, which is AoE, strong AoE damage. You can just bring 1 or maybe 2 AoE DPS and then you're done. You don't really need to do anything extra like cooldown up, stunning, whatever it is. You don't really need to do all that shenanigans. You just need to bring 1 strong nuker and then he's out of the game. He doesn't have a start or turn revive or cheat death mechanic that can sustain through an AoE DPS, right? Again, people have been saying that Ana has this so much counters and she's gonna be phased out of meta. Dude, how many counters have they released for Ana, and how is she still having like 80% win rate in knockout? Let's take a look at how many releases that they have released to counter Ana, right? Tricky is one of the counter, still in the meta, and yet Ana is still in meta, right? Nusi is a counter to Ana, she's still in meta. Everett is sort of a counter because he has multiple hits on his S2. She's still in meta. And everyone has Everett, by the way. Elaine, the biggest counter to Ana right now. You know, she can one-shot Ana, but Ana is still in the meta. Ginny, another strong Ana counter right there. Nora also can counter Ana pretty well. And then also the new release, Daji, can counter Ana very well because of her S3 mechanics, where she taunts Ana continuously, right? And then when Ana dies, it will renew the effect. And then also the new 4-star as well, Yushu. Everyone has her at R6. Some people do use her in PvP, but when we take a look at PvP knockout right now, you go to Ana, you go to matches. Look at this. This unit, you're telling me this unit is getting countered by 10 different units? 70% win rate, 70% win rate, 60, 50, 50, 60, 70, 80, 80% win rate, 67, 66, 80, 85, 50. And this is a lot of matches as well, like 2,000 matches with 76% win rate. What are you talking about? Ana getting counted. And why does she still have a very high win rate? And I've already mentioned this multiple times. Ana has a very high win rate in knockout is because you need specific counters to counter her. You cannot just bring a random team that has an AoE Esper and think that you can counter her, right? You need specific counters to her. A strong single target nuker, multi-hitter that can counter her and her team. You cannot just bring Elaine and then expect you to win against this type of team. Elaine can counter her, sure, but is Elaine gonna do anything about Zhang Juli, Jin Yu Yao, Cecilia, whatever? All these 4 characters? No. She's gonna counter Ana, but Ana most likely isn't gonna die because of the amount of healing that Lian provides, right? Or the amount of damage reduction that Zhang Juli provides. All of these counters, while it is good in a 1v1 scenario or in a beatbout scenario, it's not really good for knockout where the rewards are, right? Yeah, Ana has very specific counters, being, you know, strong single target nukers, plus being a multi-hitter, whereas Igyy, his counters is just AoE damage. AoE damage, and then you're done. So let's see, in the meta right now, we have a few AoE Espers that are, you know, really good. Donar is a very good AoE Esper. So if you are paired up against a Donar in knockout and you run Igyy in a tank team without his R1, he's gone. This guy is dead. Turn 1, because Donar does a lot of AoE damage. He does his passive at the start of combat, and then when he does his S3, he's gonna do another proc of his passive, which is gonna kill off Igyy just like that. He's just dead like that. Who else is another AoE Esper? There we go. Raven, also in the meta, one-shots Igyy, and he's gone. He doesn't have a cheat death mechanic at the start of turn. He's dead. He's not a bruiser at that point. Alright, Ggez. Some people do use Ggez still in PvP or in knockout because some people have him at R6, D6. He's not the best, but again, his AoE damage is going to be enough for you to one-shot Igyy, because Igyy is not a HP based character. He is an attack based character, which means you're going to be building him with mostly attack and not HP. JJ, with his AoE, can also almost one-shot Igyy, and then if you pair him up with another, not really a strong AoE nuker, just a AoE hitter, you should have enough damage to just kill off Igyy turn 1 before he gets to 12 stacks. Because again, keep in mind, 12 stacks is a lot of stacks unless you start counter-attacking with the entire team. So if the enemy team counter-attacks the entire team, right? The entire team counter-attacks, that's going to give you 5 stacks. You need that to happen 2 times. No, 3 times for the enemies to counter-attack the whole board, right? 5, 5, and then another 5 for you to get the full stacks. But that likely won't happen for the enemy team to counter-attack 5 times in a row twice. Who else is another AoE nuker? People have been running Leora as well, because she does have an AoE nuker and she does provide a lot of support to your entire team. If you have her at higher resonance and higher divinate, she's gonna be good. Ggez also being used alongside with Nusi. He can just straight up one-shot Igyy from 100 to 0, no problem. Jinchu. For those who have R6 Jinchu, he can just 100 to 0 Igyy as well, because Igyy is an attack-based character. Archibald, for those who are running him, and then also Feng Shun. In PvP, he does actually do quite a significant amount of AoE damage if you run him with TA, and if you run him with Ggez. Now Ggez adds this true damage to your entire team, which is massive. It's like 10,000 damage in PvP. So if you pair her up with Feng Shun and TA, Feng Shun gets the first turn, does the AoE AP push, and then does the Chakra Strike. That's gonna proc defense break on Igyy, and then also the true damage proportion from Ggez, and then TA gets a turn, she AP swaps, giving Feng Shun another turn, and then Feng Shun does the AoE again, just wipes Igyy off the planet, right? So yeah, there's going to be multiple ways for you to counter Igyy that doesn't need you to specifically go for a specific strategy. All you need is an AoE character, unlike Ana where you need single target plus multi-hitter in the team. And with Ana, you not only have to counter her, you also have to counter her team, right? With Igyy, you can counter the team but not counter the Igyy, and you will still do fine, because all you need is AoE attacker. Again, I'm saying this if he is at R0, and that's the reason why I say you might want to summon for him at R1, because without this Sleep No More at the start of combat, he is easily counterable, unlike Ana and all these Bruiser type characters, right? So at this point, you might want to consider going for new Shimmer Legends and instead going for an R1 Igyy. So maybe you have Ana, Shuanpin, and Tolan already in your account. You might want to go for Igyy R1, and then you go for Nusi and all these other characters, right? Because I think his R1 is another step to the character. His R0 is good, but it's easily counterable, whereas his R1 makes him extremely difficult to counter. But yeah, that's about it. I've been rambling on for too long. Hopefully you get the point. And yeah, that's about it. Ciao.